How much 5-on-5 are you doing this week?
Today we did a lot of 5-on-5, so it's been a controlled build-up. When I got the job, I really wanted to elevate our performance team and put our performance at kind of the forefront of everything we did. So first 3 days, we were really intentional having a more controlled build-up. I think instead of going all guns blazing from day one, day two, day three, where players are playing every day, this was actually the first day we went player on player, and that was by design. I think, if we really want to put forth performance at the forefront of what we do, it has to impact practice design.
So you want to make every moment matter. So how are you divide up day by day with there? Because I'm like, look at the end of the game, great next week. Like,
Yeah, yeah. So it's just having a really organized season plan of what we have and when we're going to put it in. And then, every time we plan practice, it's a case of going through that and looking at, all right, we're going to put less in now intentionally to make sure we really have the basics of what we're trying to achieve offensively and defensively. And then we're going to put things in as we go. So, I mean, even for our first preseason games, we're probably going to have one play. And that's by design. It's very different, but it's like until we know one play and we know it inside out where we can pick apart any defensive cover, whether it's switch, down, shove, blitz, whatever it is, then once we can do that, we will add others.
what have you enjoyed about learning the team so far?
Yeah, I think just seeing tons of different individuals stepping up. I think whether it's a leadership capacity in certain players really speaking up in the huddles when we were playing 5-on-5 today, or even just seeing some things where you're like, wow, I didn't know player X could do that. So yeah, really, really pleased. I keep saying it, but I'm delighted with where we're at on day 4.
And give us a why you doing what's the maybe why yeah.
I think really just when you get the chance to go away for a training camp, it's different to staying home in terms of what you get from a team morale, chemistry, team building perspective. So again, that was an intentional on our part to get out of here and just be in a different environment, do some fun stuff as a team, and just continue to grow and take positive steps forward every day.
What was a big positive takeaway from the scrimmage run?
Yeah, so I think offensively recognition of different shapes, we're calling it. So understanding of what spacings are optimal to initiate particular actions and triggers. And that was really great to see. The transfer was really good, in fact, in terms of players had an instant recognition of when we had an advantage, when we were neutral, and then when we were neutral, getting into one of our known shapes. So that really stood out. And then defensively, we're putting in some different pick and roll covers. So it was good to see it pass the transfer test.
Over the coming days and weeks, you're going to have some more players who have been overseas. They're going to be trickling in with a group that's been here for a few days. What is the key to make sure that those layers are able to hit the ground running?
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. I think just the practice environment we have, I mean, like you guys see it just in all the content coming out. It's generally a really joyful one. I think that environment where that we're encouraging, laughter, smiles, and it just makes it so easy for new players to step into that. But obviously we're onboarding them too, just with how we can use film creatively to help them catch up and get up to speed.
Picking back up on that question, when you go to Eugene, is it as a general goal, whether you get the players that you add or not, you feel like it's picking up where you left off, or do you feel like it's a day one just work on?
Yeah, no, I think it's really building on what we've done in these first 4 days. So it wouldn't be a complete reset at all by any means. It's more keep building, and then I think the players coming in, we had some great discussions with them already, so they know what we've been doing every day, and things like they've been seeing all the video we've been doing, they've been listening to some bits mic'd up, so they'll be able to hit the ground running.
Is it organic is stepping up as the leader for the team?
Yeah, so I spoke about it a couple days ago. I think just Emily's been really good speaking up in huddles. Louisa heard a lot of Louisa today, which was great. So I'll be really interested to see, when our other players trickle in. I think I really want to be intentional with them continuing to do that.
Do you flesh out? I know you mentioned a leadership council on Sunday. Has any more come from that?
Yeah, so still building it. I'm deciding on the final players who are in it, but obviously, Bridget's obviously certainly going to be in that group. Carly's in that group already. So, and then, once we finish Eugene, then just going to take a look at how we can really involve them in decisions we're making as a team.
Coach, you mentioned the joyous environment. Is there anything with the student identity that you see starting to take shape you didn't see when you initiate the game?
Yeah, I think being proud to be doing different things in the W. And we've been really, really specific, giving the players whys for things we do every day. So today, Yuji Suzuki, who's actually in our performance team, he did a presentation on differential learning. And, a lot of time you go, oh, why is not the basketball coach doing a presentation on something related to basketball? And that's the idea of what we're trying to do here. And I think it's really cool actually to see players starting to understand the whys and actually making sense and embracing it and coming into the gym now instead of doing form shots or a mic and drill, start to shoot differently using different stances, different arcs straight away. So that's been really cool to see.
What impresses you about the progress that these individuals have made in coming together as a human?
Yeah, I think just learning a completely different way of framing basketball in terms of it's not a system. I don't ever want to say it's my system, it's not. It's principles, and it's principles of play that we're developing collectively and being intentional to design it around the strengths, weaknesses of the players. So it is a different way of playing because it's all about them being put into situations to make decisions as opposed to me calling stuff from the sideline. So it's going to take time and it's going to be messy at the beginning, but it's going to be a good messiness because it's going to allow us to get to a point which we would never be able to get to if we're just playing scripted, rigid basketball. And yeah, we might win a few more games early on playing very rigidly, but when it comes, in the future, when we're talking about winning playoff series, we're going to be a more adaptable team and we're going to have the answers for anything we see. So,
was there any big use of DLA in the scrimmage? What you have?
Yeah, there was, just in terms of different point systems we were using and certain behaviors we were trying to encourage. So we're always kind of having a different point system for every game or certain constraints so that if you do something, it might equate to a turnover or loss of possession. So continuing to get the players used to that, and it's really helping get the offense and defense.